The views and opinions expressed within the video content found on the Indie Comics Network are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Indie Comics Network or its sponsors.
Having conquered animation, Disney Studios wouldn't stop until it was synonymous with family. And that means live-action movies. Using invisible dragons, traveling beds, and yes, even the death of a rabbit dog, Disney skyrocketed to become the standard of American family cinema. So there's no doubt that the panel have been influenced by some of these movies, and we're guessing you probably have been as well. So come chat about Disney family features right now, Dispatches from Outside the Box.
In the spaces, things exist. In the lines that form the network of your mind. Behind the retinas of imagination are the particles and peripherals that made you who you are. Turn off, shut your eyes, and listen. Dispatches from outside the box.
And welcome to the show that scours the corners of geekdom to inspire you to create comics outside of the box. Of course, I'm your host, C Michael Lanning, graphic translator, as Will Eisner like to put it, and a lot of other stuff, I guess. Anyway, before we get into this, I want you to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell icon, and let other people know that we're live right now. And if you are watching this on the replay, thank you for that. Leave a comment. We'll be more than happy to get back to you when we can. And so, Mitch, tonight is Disney Family Features. And I guess you grew up in the same time I did, that it is basically, that's it. Family was Disney.
Yeah. It was.
Did you come from a Disney family, Mitch? Did you watch a lot of Disney movies?
Not necessarily, no. My family wasn't really a Disney family. I was more of like a Looney Tunes kid. So Disney has always been I think I brought this up on past shows, but I was kind of on Disney.
Yeah.
But
you should have had a war month.
Yeah.
Well, that's coming. That's coming.
I'm sure. Yeah, but yeah, like I didn't live under a rock. I've seen quite a bit of them. There's always that one family member that always gifted me. Well, I had a few family members that gifted me Disney movies. So I had a collection of them that I barely watched, except for like Fantasia, Great Mouse Detective. Those were like my favorites.
Oh yeah. Well, I did love. What was it, Basil Rathbone? Not Basil. I know
Basil Baker Street.
Basil Baker Street.
Yeah.
Which was always funny to me because Basil Rathbone used to play Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah. Well, that's who they named it after.
Yeah, absolutely. But So when you were coming up too, there was a lot of remakes that were coming in. Like I know Christina Ricci and That Darn Cat. That was actually a remake.
The Parent
I don't know
Trap
how
with
old.
Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah, how old were you when that came out?
I was probably late elementary school, early middle school.
Wow.
It was the late 90s, wasn't it? I can't remember
I guess so.
quite.
Well, I grew up seeing the old Haley Mills Parent Trap to the point that somebody I mentioned it one time. I said Parent Trap. Oh, the Lindsay Lohan movie? No, what are you talking about? Anyway, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Mitch Rogers. I'm a horror comic book creator, writer, and artist from Greenville, South Carolina. Creator of the Boger series of horror comic books. If you're interested in horror comics and you want a cool Christmas gift, these both of these are available at my website, CelticCrossComics.com.
Oh my gosh! There you go. That's the way to plug. That's the time of year to plug, right? I'm telling you.
It is.
And then this guy wants to ask in the backstage if we were old enough to remember any of these movies. Oh my gosh, Rodney, you remember the Parent Trap, right?
Well, what I meant to say is, were you old enough to see the movies in the movie theaters?
Oh my gosh.
Most of them, no. Videos, yes.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. You got to think at that time when Mitch and I are coming up, VHS is becoming prevalent. Don't correct me, Chad. It's becoming prevalent, right? So Disney's like re-releasing all this stuff. They're pulling it out the vault and they're re-releasing it on those. They used to have those cassette holders or whatever it was that you open it up and like a snap holder. Huh?
Yeah,
Clamshells.
Clamshells, yeah. Look, I knew that's why I have you guys on here. Yeah, clamshells. So I used to have that. It was always Disney classics, right? That time. So, but how about yourself? Are you familiar with some of them from the movie theater?
Oh yeah. I saw. Well, for instance, when you said Lindsay Lohan and the Parent Trap, I thought of Freaky Friday.
Oh, Jodie Foster.
She was in the remake of that, and I remember going and seeing the original Freaky Friday. Movie. Yes. So, Freaky Friday, Escape from Witch Mountain 1 and 2.
I was forgetting about that.
Swiss Family Robinson was way before my time, but we went and like Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. We saw that in the movie theater.
Oh yes.
Herbie the Love Bug.
Also had Lindsay Lohan in a remake.
Yeah. Ouch.
Yeah. Ouch. Apple Dumpling Gang.
Yes.
All the Don Knotts Disney stuff.
Oh, yeah. I forgot those were with Disney. I forgot.
Yeah, Don Knotts. I mean, who else could put Don Knotts and Tim Conway together? Right? That's you're just asking for trouble. There's just no way that you're going to get past it.
It worked.
Carol Burnett show and watching that every night. And you tell us that, Harvey Korman and Tim Conway are going to be on the big screen in a Disney movie. Like, sold. No.
Well, go ahead and introduce yourself, Rodney. You don't have to give away your age. So you go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, everybody. I am Rodney Fyke. I am a writer, creator, artist at Hasm Productions. You can find me at Rodney Fyke Art everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, all that fun stuff. And you can go to Hasm.com and check out all of our books, such as Peanut Pudding and Jelly, Unchained, Pitter Patter, Roadkill Rampage, and soon in 2023, the brand new Doghouse.
Awesome. Let's take a look at the chat. So Brown Dog was in there. Somebody cut the cheese. Okay. Ephraim says hello.
What's up, Ephraim?
Carl says hello. Donna says hello all.
Hi, Donna.
Carl says, wow, I recalled most of those films except the one with the glowing collar cat. He was talking about in the montage.
What is that? I recognize
that is the cat from outer space. It actually has you talk about the Carol Burnett show, which is kind of a very loose connection, but it had Ken Berry, who played Vent on Mama's Family, which was Vicki Lawrence, which was created in Carol Burnett.
He was also
in a long way around.
He was in
or other people know him as before, and of course that was way before that. And it was probably right after or during F Troop.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
He's
He was also in Mayberry RFD
Yes,
when Andy Griffith left.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, he has been around. You know, I watched. It was the Vicki Lawrence show. I don't know if you remember. She actually had a talk show, which is crazy. Excuse me. And she actually had a Mama's Family reunion. And on there you had Ken Berry. Ken Berry doesn't remember any of it, or he didn't remember any of it. I think he's passed now, but he didn't remember filming any of it. I was like, I guess because for what, about 30 years there, he was on a show like consistently.
Yeah.
So, but it was kind of sad. But of course, he didn't have the first two kids ever on that show. I don't know how well you remember Mama's Family.
I do,
but that's a cat with a glowing collar. There's a cat from outer space. North Free, hey North Free, evening everyone. Saw bed knobs and broomsticks in the trailer. Absolutely. Who kid? I'm okay. Well, who was the actor that was in that?
Angela Lansbury.
Yes, Angela Lansbury. But
he's talking about the guy.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I can look it up on my phone.
David Tomlinson.
Was who?
David Tomlinson.
Oh, okay.
Now this guy was utilized in a lot of Disney movies, right? I mean, because wasn't he in The Love Bug? Wasn't he like the competitor to what after Herbie?
I have to see a picture of his face.
Okay, hold on. I'll find you something. I got to find something that's a little more. You don't remember Mr. Banks from Mary Poppins?
Yeah, he was that
40 years.
angry British guy that was in everything in the 60s.
Yeah, right.
I don't remember what I had for lunch.
Huh?
I said I don't remember what I had for lunch yesterday, let alone something from 40 years ago.
Oh my gosh. This guy.
Okay.
It's kind of like a second-rate Terry Thomas.
Yeah.
No,
you don't know who Terry Thomas is.
I have no idea who that is. Who is Terry Thomas?
He was the villain in Monsters Go Home. Have you ever saw that? The guy that would jump on the floor and scream, I'm like Lord Munster. I'm Lord Munster," or something like that. He was the uptight British guy that was in everything. Hang on.
I have to go look it up. I'm not familiar, but yeah, this guy was in a lot of stuff when it came to Disney. Look, Donna even said
that's Terry Thomas. If you can,
hold on, let me put you
clearly see my. It's just a blue shine, but
tilted forward.
But I think I recognize him.
Yeah, the gap in his tooth was very recognizable.
Terry Thomas. Okay. So, all right, it's a mad world. I think I've seen him. Okay, so I can see why you would say that. He did come up. He did kind of come before. Well, I guess around they're kind of contemporaries, huh?
Yeah, about the same time, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just that whole banker look or whatever the case is, right? But yeah, you remember him, right, Rodney? He was he was a villain in the Love Bug, and of course he was Mr. Banks.
Yeah. Once I saw a picture of him, it all came flooding back.
Yeah, but Disney kind of had that tendency. They were using cast members over and over again. And Jarrett, if you are watching, Jarrett wasn't able to be with us tonight. He has the flu, so hopefully he might join us in the chat later. But I was wrong. That is not Kurt Russell and Old Yeller. I don't know why I thought that. I cannot remember the kid's name, but damn it, he looks like Kurt Russell.
No, he doesn't.
To me, he does. Shut up, bitch.
Hey,
Well,
I've watched enough Kurt Russell movies to know what Kurt Russell
Sorry,
looks
my
like.
Chad came out there. No. Well, no, for some reason, I'd gotten the idea that Kurt Russell had been with Disney since he was a kid. But he had been, but only since like he was like 13.
Yeah, he was in what was it? He played a robot. You showed it in the trailer.
No, yeah, the computer wore tennis shoes. He kind of got zapped by a computer and ended up having all the smarts.
He was in another one. Was it called The World's Greatest Athlete?
Oh my gosh, the
think
amount of
so.
he was the
was
first
really young
movie
then.
he was in that was for them was something about a boy. Let's see, and I don't know if it was his first movie or not. Because I watched something and he was talking about having met Walt, and which wasn't very often. Now, of course, he's done a whole bunch of Disney movies since then, like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, kind of thing. But let me see. Oh, there's a lot of stuff. Golly, he has been around.
Yeah, I think he started at Disney when he was 6.
No, he said 13.
13? Was it 13? Okay.
He said 13. Yeah. Follow Me, Boys, which was Fred McMurray.
Oh.
Let's see. I'm putting it up. Man settles down in a small town and becomes the scoutmaster. I do not remember this one at all. I remember Fred McMurray. That's absent-minded professor, and he was in the Shaggy Dog.
Well, My Three Sons too. He was the father of My Three Sons.
He was?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
I think so.
Yeah, Fred McMurray.
I didn't really watch My Three Sons, so I don't. It never interested me because I wasn't interested in his three sons.
Yeah. It was one of those programs that they sandwiched it in between like Brady Bunch and Three's Company, or, back in the day.
Did that have Klinger as the uncle or something?
I don't remember that.
Or is that another show? Because there's another famous there's some famous like family sitcom in the 60s where the Jamie Farr, who played Klinger, was like the uncle who kind of took the mother's role because the mother had died, so he was like cooking and cleaning the whole time.
Oh, man, I don't remember that at all.
What was it?
That might have
I'm
been
just going to throw it out the courtship of Eddie's father. Because I'm assuming Eddie's father didn't have a wife. Because if he was being courted, that would be really weird. So,
wasn't that Bill Bixby? Was that Bill Bixby?
I couldn't tell you. Bill Bixby, isn't that Oh my! Why you throw these names out there? And I recognize them here and there. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, apparently it was. He directed it.
Okay.
He was what?
Bill Bixby was it was.
Yeah.
I guess he was Eddie, right? Eddie's father.
He was the father. Yeah, that was his role before the Incredible Hulk. Because that was must-see TV when we were 7.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was also Bill Bixby was also in My Favorite Martian with Ray Walston. I keep wanting to call him Walton.
Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me?
Which is,
No,
for all you trivia buffs out there, Mr. Hand in Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
I've never seen that.
You've never seen that?
No, I've never seen that, but I'd have seen My Favorite Martian.
Well,
So
got a great
wait a minute. You're married to Nita, and you've never seen Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
I worked at a video store and I didn't see it. What does that tell you? Because I don't like. I didn't like Judge Reinhold. I'm still not wild about Judge Reinhold.
Well, he's not the main character in the movie, really. It's kind of like an ensemble.
One part of the story.
Or Sean Penn, for that matter.
Okay, I can understand that. Okay.
So here I am. Now y'all got me I'm on this fucking wild goose chase. Looking at Bill Bixby. And the thing about it is, My Favorite Martian, he co-starred with Ray Walston. Wait a minute. He was on there at the beginning. Now, I just watched My Favorite Martian, and it didn't even register me that was the Hulk. Not even.
Really?
He's a drastically different character, isn't he? He's
Well, yeah.
a little more neurotic on there. He's kind of, what was it? What do you call it? Uncle Martin? Was that what they were calling
Yeah.
Ray Walston, the Martian? Uncle Martin? So, and then he was kind of smitten with the landlady's daughter and all that and stuff. So But yeah. Oh my gosh. Hold on, let's see what the chat has to say. My three sons was a former sailor as an uncle who cooked. Okay.
Yeah, that could have been a Jamie Farr.
Oh, you young guys. Thanks, Carl. First was Bub, who I think was the grandfather. Then William Fraley left, and William Damaris, Fred from the Lucy Show, came on as Uncle Charles. Okay. I don't need to type faster. So I guess the issue comes in. Okay, so here he is. Here you have the Walt Disney Studios. And this is not really, the whole live action thing is not actually a surprise, I guess, because when you look at how Walt Disney started, and it was Laugh-O-Grams, I think, or it might have been the Disney Brothers Studio. I cannot remember how. I'll have to go back and check. But they did the Alice shorts, which was basically, you had the little Alice, and she was in the cartoon world, right? You seen that, right?
It
was in
probably have, but I don't remember it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
If I saw it,
We talked about it last week, and I kept thinking we were talking about Alice in Wonderland.
Let me see if I can find it. Okay, so basically, that's how Disney got its start. The Oswald debacle and all that other stuff came, later. But let's see if I can put this up. And you're going to get me copywritten. I know it. But let's see. See, there it is, right there.
You just mute the sound, and you'll be okay.
You can't hear the sound anyway.
Oh.
I can, but you can't. I don't understand. I've been over that, but yeah. When this gets into it, I'm pretty sure you'll know it. You'll recognize it. Of course, there's Disney, and they were trying to do something new. You'd already seen cartoons in live action, but they didn't really put live action into cartoons at the time. So you had, let's see, come on, this is the promo. But see here, you've never seen this? It's not enough. It's not enough. Hooray for Alice!
I've never seen it.
You've never seen it? Oh yeah, it was Little Virginia, I think was her name, and
there's Max Fleischer.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they were a big influence on what he was going to do at that time too. But yeah, they were popular. That's what actually kind of was able to jumpstart the studios into making, more stuff and more, I want to say I get my timelines right because I've been researching a lot and it's kind of gets jumbled in here. But if I'm not mistaken, this was before, Oswald was the rabbit that was stolen from Disney, right?
Yep.
But the Alice cartoons were kind of the ones that were able to fund the studio. So it wasn't so live action wasn't really foreign to them. And let's face it, when you're looking at animated features that weren't coming out for 2 or 3 years, then you needed something else to fund what you were doing, right? And he had shorts and everything, but classic Lion King or Aladdin are just awesome. Everything, yeah, absolutely. And then Jared's in there. Hey, Jared, I'm slow too, Donna. LOL. But so basically, going into live action for them wasn't really a far stretch. What's interesting, though, I don't know if you ever heard of this, but the first movie that they did live action was Treasure Island. And I do remember Treasure Island, Rodney. And I'll be honest with you, I don't even think I saw that on VHS. I think I saw that probably on the TV. So it was probably black and white. But when they filmed that in England, and at the time in England, you couldn't film in England. If you made money in England, you had to spend it in England.
Really?
Which is nuts. Yeah.
So how could you make a living here?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He ended up doing more American stuff too, but the issue comes in where you got to think though. This is right after World War II, so England's trying to rebuild,
Oh, yeah.
after the that bastard that we won't talk about right here
Yeah.
on YouTube because we can get canceled.
Funny mustache man.
Yeah, Funny's mustache man.
Uncle Goose
Evil
Step?
Charlie Chaplin.
There you go. Nega Chaplin. We'll call it that. That's what we will. He will now for World War II. Yes, Nega Chaplin. That's what he will be referred to as. Donna said, a fun fact about my 3 sons, there are actually 4 sons.
Well, one wasn't loved, so.
That's what it was. He wasn't my son. Jay said Treasure Island on TNT. Absolutely.
TNT did play a lot of Disney stuff back in the day, I remember.
Yeah. So like I said, I grew up with Parent Trap, but Rodney, you were talking about last week, you kind of brought up something in behind the scenes, and your first Disney movie was
a double feature of Bed Knobs and Broomsticks and Herbie's Love Bug.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And those had just come out together, or
I guess. Again, I was 7.
Oh,
they came out at the time he saw them. They were out.
You mean you didn't log this stuff down as you were going? Like, golly, man.
No, I did, but I lost it in a space vacuum years ago.
Well, I included. There was always something about Angela Lansbury that was very welcoming, right? But what's interesting to me is now, correct me if I'm wrong, but she's kind of a witch in Bed Knobs and Broomsticks, isn't she?
Kind of, she was.
Yeah.
She was, right? And what amazes me is, so why in 19... I'm just trying to let you fill in the blank if you want to, but okay.
1960-something, 50-something.
Huh?
75?
75.
Oh, I was way off.
Sorry, Bed Knobs and Broomsticks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was 75 or 76.
Okay. Way before she did Murder, She Wrote. I mean, this is maybe 10 years before Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah.
Because I do remember Murder, She Wrote did start in the 80s. I do remember that.
Yes, it did. It absolutely did. It was integral, right? It was a Stephen J. Cannell. I was thinking about that today. Maybe I should do a show on Stephen J. Cannell with the A-Team, Murder, She Wrote, Simon and Simon.
Wise Guy.
Magnum P.I. too, right? Wise Guy. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
You're pulling all sorts of stuff out, Rodney. Yeah. But I was just kind of wondering, okay, so was there a backlash on Bed Knobs and Broomsticks because it was a witch? I mean, we just came from
back in those days. You saw a movie and you accepted it for what it was. It was just entertainment. Then you left the movie theater and you went on about your lives. The adults went to work, the kids went to school. We played, we learned. We didn't concentrate on entertainment because we were busy with life.
Or if we did, it was about how good or bad it was. It wasn't
right. Yeah.
Yeah, we were just like, oh wow, that was awesome. That was so cool.
So, and if I remember correctly, the thing about the bed, it was a bed knob, and you turned it a certain way, or you had to do something with the bed knob. Hence the name. I don't know where the broomsticks came from. I guess because she was a witch. I don't remember broomsticks, but it's like, didn't you have to like turn the bed knob to go?
Yeah, you like turn it one direction for one thing and the other direction for something else.
Oh, let me see. I want to see.
All I know is that Angela Lansbury had a lot of fun with that bed knob.
Wow.
But
evocative.
Yes, I went there.
Just reach the after dark show.
Oh my gosh.
That was good, Mitch.
Now we know why she lived to be as old as she was.
Now go in the bathroom and wash your brain out with soap.
So the idea is, Rodney. The movie came out in 1971.
Okay, so it wasn't brand new then.
Oh, okay. Well, but they were doing that, right? I mean, they were consistently. Like I said, I actually saw that. I remember seeing. I was telling somebody today. I remember seeing the Forbidden movie in the movie theaters. I actually remember seeing it.
The one with all the singing and
yes,
yeah.
and the birds and the rabbit and everything. I actually remember seeing it because here in the South we don't give a damn if it's we only care if it's banned for a certain thing, not that thing. So, but they used to they put those movies in there because you didn't have video at the time, right? You didn't have VHS, you didn't have DVD, so the only way you were going to see it is if they replayed it.
Well, yeah.
So it came out in 19. Huh?
If it was 70, I'm going to guess it was 76. So that would have been 5 years after it was released, first run. That would kind of make sense.
Yeah. Well, you said it was a double feature, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if you go back and look at the Love Bug, because it had Tomlin in it. And just because, we don't recall who he was, well, I mean, I do, but just because we don't recall who he was, I think he was actually a big enough star that was kind of like, okay, people probably would want to watch him. Look, the Love Bug came out in 1968. So what I'm proposing is what you saw was a double feature that was an older movie and leading into the Love Bug, and probably because of Tomlin.
Yeah.
Or, am I saying that name right?
Look this up. When did Herbie the Love Bug 2 come out?
Ooh, okay. Hold on.
Which one had Buddy Hackett? Was that the first one?
Gee, I don't know. Come on now. Why don't you tell me when it came out? Okay, the Lindsay Lohan one came out when
2003, I think. I think I was either still in high school or going into college.
Okay. It wasn't called The Love Bug 2, right? It was called Herbie Returns, right?
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to remember. Herbie franchise. Okay. That's right, folks. We do all of our research right here live, so you can see it. This is the nuts and bolts, the skeleton, the bones. We're putting the meat on it right now. Herbie Rides Again came out in 1974. Now, okay, this is what we're looking at. Now, this has the Love Bug coming out in 69. I'm going to say it was probably 68, 69 wintertime, right? You know how they do it.
Yeah. Wikipedia says 68. Yeah, we all know Wikipedia is never wrong.
Well, here's what's funny about that is because I'm looking under the Herbie franchise, which is on Wikipedia, and it's telling me the Love Bug came out in 69. So maybe it just likes that number. I'm not sure.
I know I
do. Zoinks. So then Herbie Rides Again came out in 1974. Here's what I do not remember at all. Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo. Apparently, he no longer had the love bug. He was bitten with the gambling bug. That's the only thing I can figure out.
Oh, wow.
I don't remember this one at all.
Well, he was a Volkswagen.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Jim Douglas, reuniting with Herbie, finds himself once again hitting the roads in a race car event. This time, Jim and Herbie, along with the goofy mechanic Willie Applegate, compete in a French competition. Also involved in the automotive adventure are Quincy and Max, a pair of jewel thieves, and Diane Darcy, the beautiful woman who drives Gazelle, a sporty female car, and Herbie's love interest. Mm-hmm. Always have to have a love interest, right?
For a car?
Yeah.
Oh, God, I can just imagine.
Well, I could, he always did that kind of shuffle, right? So, like, maybe he was overheated. Anyway, but I do remember Herbie Goes Bananas in 1980. I remember that coming out. And then you have this long gap, and then there's the 1997 The Love Bug film. Which is which I thought is not the Lindsay Lohan one.
Really?
I think Lindsay Lohan one was just called Herbie or something like that.
Herbie.
Yeah, it had Herbie in the title. Oh, yeah.
Now this might have been like a straight to Disney
Channel. I did have a crush on her in my younger years.
I don't blame you. Lindsay Lohan. I always thought she would make a good Mary Jane, personally, but Let's see. Okay, it was a made-for-television comedy adventure film starring Bruce Campbell.
Oh wow!
Oh, people!
Whoa,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, 1997. So I'm thinking it was for. Let's see, which premiered on ABC as part of the Wonderful World of Disney on November 30th, 1997. Okay. Now you remember because Eisner had come back to do the Wonderful World of Disney, which is like on Sunday. I think we kind of touched on that last week.
Yeah, we did a little bit.
And they were remaking a lot of those movies, so I guess they decided to remake it. But I mean, basically, they left one out, right? Because you had the Love Bug, but then they remade it, and they completely washed over Herbie and made it a Mustang, right? It was Christine. They named it. They made him Herbie female, basically.
I don't know. I never saw it.
That wasn't done by Disney. That was done by John Carpenter, based on a book by Stephen King.
Stephen King, right? I was a joke. It was fell flat. That's
okay. Oh, you're joking. Okay, there you go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was one of those like you have like the flip side. You have to wonder: did Stephen King watch too much Love Bug and go, I wonder what would happen if the car was deadly. That's
well, at that time there was a lot of, this is kind of a tangent, but there was a lot of killer car movies because you had Duel, based on the book by Richard Matheson. Then you had The Car with Josh Brolin's dad. What's his name? John Brolin.
James Brolin.
James Brolin. I was way off. So at that time there was kind of this thing of like, either cursed or possessed cars killing people. So it was, so it was kind of in the cultural zeitgeist. Now, was that inspired by Herbie? I don't know.
That could be, right? I mean, that's a possibility. Let's see. Talking about Treasure Island, Robert Newton became the ideal pirate, which he was the one that played Long John Silver, right? Mm. It was Long John Silver, right? That's not just a restaurant, right? I did read Treasure Island a long time ago. Huh?
Horrible restaurant. I hate their food. Oh God. Anyway,
we don't have them anymore.
Thank God.
And then Carl went, and now that he said this, I remember this. Angela's character was taking witch lessons through the mail. This like this. I mean, obviously, it's the future, right? I mean, it's internet learning. It's YouTube learning without the YouTube, right?
You're back in the old days where you had to mail a piece of paper off.
Then David's character was the scammer selling her the lessons, but it turns out to be real magic. Oh my gosh! Now that he said, I remember that. Yeah, that makes me want to go back and put it. She put a spell on the bed to travel.
So basically, they were just copying Little Nemo of Slumberland.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Well, really, come on, it was Mary Poppins, right? I mean,
yeah, basically.
They went under the sea, and I never saw Bed Knobs and Broomsticks or whatever it's called.
I saw it in elementary school. It was during like one of those days where nothing was going on, and the teachers put it in.
Yeah, Carl. Yeah.
If you really want to censor it, just say the former theme song to Good Morning America.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's interesting going back and talking about, they were putting together Mary Poppins. And, you have a cartoon segment in Mary Poppins where they jump into the concrete slab or whatever, and they go into the animated world. And one thing that really kept Disney thinking about how to do that, or inspiring him to do it, nobody knew what he was thinking, but he would always tell them to put in this reel over and over again from that movie, the movie that shall not be named, right? So a lot of that movie has to do with what we see today. So maybe we should ban Mary Poppins, which I'm okay with, honestly. I like Dick Van Dyke, but I'm not wild about Mary Poppins. And I can't imagine, Mrs. You're a Mary Poppins fan either.
No.
after the musical comment last week.
Yeah, I am a fan of Dick Van Dyke though, but yeah,
I
Mary
do like Dick
Poppins,
Van Dyke.
not a fan.
Maybe not with a Cockney accent, but I do like Dick Van Dyke.
I like Dick Van Dyke. He's still kicking too. He's like
I know,
pushing 100.
97.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And his brother was also hilarious, Jerry Van Dyke.
Oh yes.
Oh, yeah,
Coach.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man, that was what that's a show that does not get enough
It
attention.
does.
Craig T.
It
Nelson.
was great.
You were in Modern Family. You have Ed O'Neill, but in actuality, they were trying to get Craig T. Nelson in that role, but they didn't pay him enough.
Yeah,
But
he
I
ended
just-
up doing Parenthood,
Yeah,
which
why?
lasted
I
just
don't
a
know.
few seasons.
Because you look.
He's on Young Sheldon now.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll have to take your word for it. I don't watch it.
Yeah, he plays.
My daughter is making me watch Young Sheldon, and I will say this: it's not the Big Bang Theory, thank God. It is. It's what is. I don't know why they didn't write the Big Bang Theory like this. I guess they wanted it to be what it was, but it's a lot better written. I will say that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I was about to say,
But they
why
were
does she
having-
hate you?
I think she likes the little boy on his watch. She's only 12. But Craig T. Nelson was going to play Ed O'Neill's role in Modern Family, and it's not often that you see a cast and you go, "Oh, I couldn't see that person in that role." Craig T. Nelson would have been perfect for that role, in all honesty.
Oh yeah.
I love Ed O'Neill. Married with Children was my jam back in the day, right?
Yeah, and the funny thing is, out of all the dads, the live action dads in the 90s, he is the most ethical.
He never cheated on Peg. He was always
No.
You don't mess with the Bundys.
He never
That's-
slipped someone a drink, never never
No.
looked up kitty stuff like the Seventh Heaven guy.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Anyway, Nita said, talk about bed knobs and broomsticks. Me neither, Donna. I assumed it would be a late night all-female prison feature.
Time to put the disclaimer.
Oh my gosh. Look, this is not. You can go subscribe to Indie Comics Network after hours. I think that's what she's getting at. This is not that show. Dispatches after dark. Whatever.
We could do one.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. Oh, geez. Now we have to get bed knobs and broomsticks on Netflix. Now you gotta get it.
It might be on Disney Plus.
It's probably on Disney Plus, but I think he's meant. That sounds like a Cinemax kind of thing. Are you serious, Carl? It was good. It was not a bad movie. It wasn't a bad movie at all. What I remember, but I don't remember. Was there singing in Bed Knobs and Broomsticks? I don't remember if there was if they broke out in the song. If they did, it wasn't like Mary Poppins.
No. But again, they're perfect movies, family movies for kids.
Yeah.
Which is when I saw them, and I haven't seen them since.
Oh wow! Donna says Dick Van Dyke is from here, Danville, Illinois, which he mentioned a lot in his show.
Huh.
Carl says they could have bought Jerry Van Dyke's house. Oh, cool.
That would have been awesome.
I think actually, isn't today? I think today is actually Dick Van Dyke's birthday. Honestly, because I just saw it today that he was 97 years old. I'm like, all right, and still going to the gym. More power to him.
That's probably why he's 97.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. Donna said it was a Disney movie. Of course, there was singing, and they had songs. Okay, I have to say this much. You can't just because it was a Disney live action movie doesn't mean that there was a song. Wasn't Tron Disney?
Yes.
December 13th, 1925. Yep.
There you go. Isn't that something? Every time
And Tron was a Disney movie.
So
Kurt Russell.
were you a Tron fan,
Jeff Bridges.
Rodney?
Yeah, Jeff Bridges. Yeah, I love Tron. I thought it was cool.
I remember seeing it as a kid, and I'm like, whoa, special effects will never get any better.
Boy, were you wrong.
When they came back with, what was it, Tron Legacy?
Yeah,
when they came back with it, they didn't try to overdo those effects, really. What I remember, anyway.
that was what was good about it, I thought, overall.
Donna says, "Okay, it was a sappy Disney movie. Of course, there was singing." Well, that was what I never understood. You had Tron Legacy, and you had Tron, and I saw Tron a long time ago. I saw Tron Legacy a long time ago when it came out, but I remember it pretty. Okay, I remember it. So the thing about it,
How much?
but they kind of set it up for a bigger world, right? And I don't know what happened. It veered off. It wasn't as popular. That can't be.
Tron, the first one was a financial flop.
Yeah.
Like it kind
Which
of
is surprising.
like it had its own following that kind of grew over the years. It was one of those things, because you're right. You could. I'm sorry.
It's kind of like Blade Runner. Blade Runner was considered a flop, but
It's one of my favorite movies,
now it's considered one of the best sci-fi movies ever.
and it's now a Disney movie.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest. Everything's now a Disney movie.
Yeah, right. Just give it time. Yeah. What we talked Tron. Yeah, I know that they weren't going to expand on it. Didn't they have a cartoon? Wasn't there a cartoon for it?
About, I want to say 10 years ago, there was, but it didn't last long because it was on from what I remember, it was on one of those networks no one watched. So yeah, kind of. But I mean, from what I remember, it wasn't a bad show. Like it wasn't great, but it just wasn't. They could have done more with it, in my opinion. But what they did was good enough.
So even though you're sticking with, so that's kind of interesting though, right? Because you're sticking with, you have all these family movies, like we've been talking about Parent Trap, Bed Knobs and Broomsticks, Mary Poppins, those kind of things, right?
The one that shall not be named.
The one that shall not be named. But then you kind of jump Tron. It's kind of a surprising thing, right? I mean, it's not a typical Disney movie. They kind of come out the box on this, right?
Yeah, because Disney was more of like family oriented, kind of happy go lucky movies. And I'm sorry, that was my dog whining about something. They were more like sappy, happy go lucky movies, and Tron was more of like a sci-fi action movie.
Wasn't it kind of a what year did that come out? Was it Disney's answer to Star Wars? Maybe.
It could have been.
That's a good question. That's a very good question. 1982. So it's very, very possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was because they always now, even nowadays, even though that they have Star Wars now, they always did kind of have that thing where they were trying to get up there, right?
Yeah, because Empire came out in 80 and Blade Runner came out in 82 and Return of the Jedi came out in 83. So it was right there in that influx of sci-fi movies. Black Hole, which was a Disney movie, The Black Hole.
The Black Hole. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I just
remember that one.
About that.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's just you don't think about being, Disney movies. Let me see if I can find a list here. But yeah. So they were, but they also might have been trying to coincide with attractions at Disney World because they had an attraction called Inner Space, right? Not Inner Space. Oh my gosh, no, not that Martin Short.
Inner Space, I was about to say Inner Space is a movie. I think that was Disney. Let me check.
Voyage Inside or something like that, where basically you shrunk down into an atom.
The center of the Earth.
No, this was inside the body. This wasn't a movie. This was a ride.
Oh.
I can't remember what it's called. I have to find it. I heard somebody talking about it the other day.
Well, real quick before we get too far away from Tron, did either of you guys ever play the arcade game Tron? I mean, I know it was probably for your time, but if you ever find yourself in an old school arcade and there's a Tron video game, play it. It's cool as hell.
Before my I was around when arcades was around, Rodney.
Well, yeah, but did you play Tron?
No, I played. Well, not that I remember. I mean, it's possible. I played.
I don't remember a Tron video cabinet when I was.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was there.
All I remember was Area 51, Street Fighter. No, not Street Fighter. They had a Mortal Kombat one, I think. And...
See, what's aggravating is you go look at Disney movies and they want to add all the Disney Channel movies. Those don't count. See, I'm allergic to Disney Channel movies. That's what that was about.
They're like Hallmark movies. It's basically the same plot line done over and over again.
Right. It's just.
It's like kid finds something extraordinary and or mystical, has a real world conflict, and uses said mystical / fantastical stuff to save the day. Disney movie or Disney Channel movie.
There you go. There you go. What gets me, I just came across, and what it was both is I never realized it, but it was such a big thing in my childhood. Benji.
Oh yeah,
Benji was a Disney movie. I never would have. I don't think I ever realized that.
And I liked Benji when I was little.
There was something about Benji that the other shows that tried to copy Benji just never got a hold of. What was it? Huh?
The Shaggy DA?
No. I'm talking about shows like what was it called? The Incredible Journey Home or whatever.
Oh,
The Incredible Journey.
Yeah,
it was based on a book.
Yeah, was that the one with Michael J. Fox or
Lucky I forgot the breed of dog. Yeah.
I never got into those type of movies. But what's crazy is Benji didn't talk.
Yeah.
So it was just a dog. Benji was just it was Lassie, right?
Yeah. It was Lassie through the eyes of Lassie.
Yeah.
Because Lassie was more I guess a third person, type narrative where you just followed Lassie. Yeah. Benji was more of you were Benji in the movie. Like he was completely center stage.
Right.
He felt what he was feeling at the time. A lot of the shots from what I remember were point of view where you were low on the ground like he would be.
Yep.
Right.
Benji was huge, man. I mean,
it was.
They made a lot of movies.
When did the first Benji come out? Because I remember now those were ones I remember seeing in the movie theater.
Okay, so remember going to see those. About dog movies. What about Ren 1010? Was that Disney? You guys remember Ren 1010?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, that
was. Well, that was Ren 1010 was it a Disney film? Let's see.
He was apparently a dog that was in movies.
Yeah, I mean,
Ren 1010 was a male German Shepherd.
Yeah,
who became international star in motion pictures.
Yeah, The Adventures of Ren 1010, 1954 through 1959. Right. That's what kind of was your basis for the remember 100 101. Remember, look, oh my gosh, we're in the cyber age. remember 101 Dalmatians? Yeah.
I actually remember both of those movies, the cartoon and the live action one.
101 and 102 Dalmatians, right?
Glenn 101 Dalmatians. Cruella de Vil than
101.1 the Dalmatians.
Yeah. Yeah. One of them just hasn't been born yet, so it's 101.1.
But in 101 Dalmatians, the cartoon, the animation, remember they're all the pups are sitting there watching the dog. I want to say wolf, the dog chasing after the bad guys on the screen, and that was your based on your Ren 1010.
Yeah.
That's the extent of my knowledge, right? Well, Rodney, I'm sorry. As far as Ren 1010 is concerned, I remember Lassie. I used to watch Lassie, but to be honest, I only knew Lassie with Timmy. I don't remember him with her with Tommy, or what was the first one? It wasn't always Timmy. It was another one, wasn't there?
Well, there's a movie that came out before the other show, Lassie Come Home.
Timmy fell in a well and didn't come out. So they replaced him with Tommy.
Yeah. Yeah, because apparently Lassie couldn't bark that day, so no one knew what was going on.
Exactly.
Lassie had laryngitis. Damn dog.
Yeah. What's wrong, girl? What's wrong, girl?
I'm old, damn it.
What's wrong? Nothing? Oh, hello.
There you go. But yeah, there was a movie that came out though that was called Bingo. Do you ever remember that?
Oh yeah.
It was a spoof of all the dog movies. It had Cindy. All I think I remember is it had Cindy Williams from Laverne and Shirley fame, right?
Yeah.
And basically the kid fell in the river, and the dog rescues him, and he wakes up, and the dog has hung up all of his clothes, started a fire, is cooking dinner, and all this stuff. If you ever see it, when I remember going to see it with my mother when I was, whenever it came out, and you thought it was another kind of bingy-esque type show, right? It was a type movie. You get in there, and it's just about the stupidest freaking. It's like that pig movie, not Babe, the other pig movie, Gordy. No, there was one that was called Gordy with a talking pig.
Oh yeah.
Only one I remember is
Babe.
Yo,
with Stretch Cunningham as a Scottish Shepherd, which was weird.
Don't ever lose that innocence, Mitch. Don't go find this movie. I'm telling you, it came out around the same time as Babe did, huh?
I am right now.
No, Mitch, don't do it. Don't do it. It was horrible.
Okay, so let me ask you this: who made Charlotte's Web?
E.B. White.
He's talking about the movie.
The movie.
Oh, the movie?
Animation studio.
Oh, that wasn't a Disney movie.
No, I know. That's why I'm asking.
Who made Charlotte's Web? The writer of the book? No.
I know that only because of Shrunken White, but
yeah. Who made the 1931 Frankenstein? Mary Shelley.
Hey, that works. That's fine. Charlotte's Web was they were definitely trying to model it after Disney style. But
yeah. Especially at the time it came out, Disney kind of had that kind of sketchy style with their animation.
Yeah.
And like
similar. Aristocats and all that.
Yeah. Jungle Book also had the same kind of like super sketchy animation.
I'm trying to find out who the company was. Paramount.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember being a kid, they played that. I think they played it. They played it once a year. Probably, I'm going to say Christmas time. But yeah, it was like, Charlotte's Web's on, kind of like Charlie Brown Christmas or The Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. And whatever time of year it was time for Charlotte's Web. We would all sit down and watch Charlotte's Web on TV.
Oh. Is that a fond memory?
Actually, yeah. Gives me more fuzzies.
And I won't say anything about Charlotte's Web. Anyway. No,
every morning when I eat bacon, I'm like, some pig.
Some pig. I say that all the time.
Oh, damn it. There we go. Oh, yeah. Well, and then let's get into, we're going to go ahead and take a bump here in a second. But I want to get into, not only, we're talking about live action, but there's also the nature films that Disney had their hands in.
Jaws?
And it was really detrimental in our understanding of lemmings.
Yeah.
So let's take a couple of bumps, and we're going to be right back.
It is difficult to write these words, but I must for my own sake. I have done, seen, and been part of many things in my life.
question or comment for us to address on the show? Have a topic you want us to talk about? Email us at indiecomicsnetwork@gmail.com. Want your comics to arrive in pristine condition? Head over to GeminiComicSupply.com and save 10% on your next Gemini mailer order or anything in the Gemini Comic Supply store. Use coupon code RAGIN10. That's RAGIN 10.
The hell was that noise?
Who knows?
It's going something fell.
I think it might have been this.
You are all weirdos. Ugh.
Now, speaking of Disney, would Muppets be considered animation or live action?
Puppetmation.
I'm gonna say, really? You think so? No, it's puppetry. That's what it is. It's Muppetry. I'm gonna say live action because if we'll consider Mary Poppins live action, if we'll consider Bedknobs and Broomstick live action, which had animated features, and I think we could do the same with the Muppets. Because what's interesting, like for instance, a Muppet Christmas Carol.
Great movie.
When Mike, huh?
Great movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Probably one of the last good Muppet movies, if not the last good Muppet movie, honestly.
Muppet Treasure Island wasn't that bad.
Okay, I don't know if I've seen that one or not.
Tim Curry's Long John Silver.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I can see that. But Michael Caine went in there. He said that he was going to play it straight. So he was going to be, you know, the stand-up English actor, and you know the Muppets were just other cast members. So I would definitely put it down as a live action film. I don't if he had played it any other way to where he regarded the Muppets as being just puppets or Muppets or whatever the case.
Right.
Then it might have been, you know. But although I did hear when it comes to the Muppets, though, they had such personality that you forget that somebody was down there with their hand up it. So,
but so that just shows you the talent that the Henson Company had.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. So we were talking about lemmings. So do you know the story? A myth that has lasted for years and years and years about how lemmings, if one jumps off the cliff, all the lemmings follow.
Yes.
That was perpetuated by Disney's lies. It was straight up. So
lemmings really aren't that stupid.
No. And it was at a time the studio was having a hard time. You know, everything was going up. Money was hard to come by. You know, trying to finance everything. So they got it to where, we'll just go out and we'll make nature documentaries. So they go out, they start filming nature, right? Well, it's boring.
If a lion isn't eating a gazelle, it's just
It's just like wake up, you eat a nut, and you go back to bed. What is that? Nobody wants to watch that.
That's a
right?
great life to me. But it wouldn't make a good movie. It would not.
I did say eat a nut, but anyway.
I trail mix and stuff.
No.
I eat food.
No, I'm just saying. No, if you think about it, you'll get it.
No, I wasn't calling you. Sit down.
I don't want to think about it. Change the subject quick.
So basically, they was like, okay, so this is boring. So what are we going to do? You know? So, okay. And then Walt Disney looked at this family. Okay, that's the mommy. That's the baby. And that's the bad guy that wants to. And so he's making up stories to fit these nature documentaries. Now, I really don't know if the idea behind that was to actually deceive people into thinking that it was real, because Disney might have had that same idea, like Rodney said, back in the 1970s. You went to a freaking movie and you left it there because it was just a movie. And that might have been how he was looking at it too.
Yeah.
But a lot of people believed it because for a long time we believed that lemmings would jump off of cliffs after each other.
I heard that they were like chasing the lemmings and made them jump off. That's what I heard.
That's a possibility. I mean, at that point in time, there wasn't really like PETA wasn't really around, or they weren't as active at that point, right? So I don't
Well,
know
they
when
pick
PETA
and
was
choose
established.
anyway.
Yeah, well, this is true. But so let's see. When was PETA established? PETA was established because of Walt Disney. Not by Walt Disney, but because of. Founded in March of 1980. They found out about the lemmings. You can't have any of this.
We must stop the lemming massacre.
Well, remember, you didn't always have the no animals were harmed during the making of this film, right? So you had people coming up and animal rights activists, which is good. I'm not saying that's bad at all, but I would be surprised if you told me that they had the
Yeah.
Well, I can honestly say, I went to the movie theater. Actually, went to the drive-in theater, and I saw Jaws when I was 6, and there was no disclaimer at the end saying no sharks were harmed during the filming of this movie. So there was a time when that didn't exist.
Well, a lot of that does have to do with actual films where animals were being killed on screen. If you've ever heard of the Italian, which is kind of goes back into Disney nature films, the Mondo films from Italy, which were nature documentaries, technically, but they kind of focused on actual gore and and stuff. Like one of them, I forgot the name of it, had actual footage of a guy being eaten by lions.
It's like Mondo Magic or something, wasn't it? Like
Mondo Cane was like the first big one. Then they had like Man Eats Man or something like that. That kind of sprung off into the cannibal movies, which a lot of those actually had animals being killed and eaten on screen. Like it wasn't any special effects.
Okay,
kind of a depressing tangent, but that's
okay. Yeah,
but it did happen in movies.
Could you imagine if Disney could do that? What kind of narrative he could have wrote? I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
it could have been a very interesting narrative. Disney Studios might have taken a whole different turn had they been allowed to show that kind of thing.
Yeah, starting to see Disney movies show up on 42nd Street. You have to be really old to understand that reference.
I guess. But yeah, now I've completely lost my train of thought.
We were on Lemmings and Disney nature films.
They tried to bring the Disney films back. They tried to bring those nature films back with you remember they had the bears.
I can't hear that.
And they had the Monkey Kingdom one. This wasn't too long ago.
Okay, turn it back on.
Which was interesting. But it was like the Monkey Kingdom one, they're telling the little story. But I wonder how accurate they are now. I guess they kind of have to be a little more accurate than they used to be, right?
I don't know if they have to be, but they should be.
They should be.
But now it's a lot easier to find out if that stuff is faked or not.
Oh yeah. The question
was March
is,
of the Penguins Disney? Oh no,
no, I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm sure they don't care.
No, they don't care. March of the Penguins. What was the deal with that? That was a huge. Why was that so huge?
That was Animal Planet, wasn't it?
It was
a movie that came out.
Yeah,
it was a movie.
Was it produced by Animal Planet?
Could have been
National Geographic Society. So
that's Disney.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was Disney at the time. Yeah, Disney owns National Geographic, but I don't know if they owned it at that time when
that came out. Well, it's not billed as a Disney movie, so if it was a Disney movie, they definitely would bill it as one.
It came out in 2005. It was a French movie done by the National Geographic Society. It was released by Buena Vista International, so technically it is a Disney movie.
Well, yes, but it wasn't acquired. Like National Geographic, however, wasn't acquired until the 20th Century Fox deal.
I thought they were done before, but maybe they weren't. Oh well.
it might have been, you know how those deals are, but they'll acquire like one section of it and then come back later and get the other, or whatever the case is. You know, something that they do in Hollywood that they don't do anywhere else, and everybody just accepts. It's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Whatever, you know, like pizza parties. Anyway, so do you think? So yeah, well, so with that, now Disney was the standard of family movies, and they did get their flack back then. It wasn't, you know, we kind of talked about the witch thing. There wasn't much flack about that, but Disney did get the flack, of course, from Song of the South. Oops, sorry.
The Rabbit movie.
The Rabbit movie. But also, it did get its flack from being completely one-sided. It was basically his conservative, white points of views, right? And somebody made the statement one time. It was in an article about how it was just straight up. It had all that, and it was just corny, just full of corn. And he told him, and Walt Disney told a friend, "Yeah, but they don't understand is I like corn." So when you look at Disney movies, you're like, they're corny. Of course, they're corny. They were meant to be corny.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't make any excuse for the remakes. Why did they remake so many of these films? Is it acceptable for them to remake these live action films more so than it is acceptable for them to have remade the animated films?
Well, personally, I don't think it's acceptable to remake a good movie anyway, you know, animated or not. But I think it's more acceptable to the general audience to remake a live action movie for some reason. Because they've been remaking their live action movies since, I mean, as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
You know, because we've talked about The Parent Trap being remade, you know, more than once.
Yep.
But,
Freaky Friday.
Yeah. Freaky Friday's been remade a bunch of times.
What animated movie has been remade?
Huh?
What animated movie has ever been remade?
Well, no, I'm talking about the live action, like
yeah.
Remade as a live action
Beauty
movie.
and the Beast and all that other things like that.
Jungle Book.
Yeah, I don't get any of that. That's just me.
Well,
honestly, I think they're creatively bankrupt. That's why. That's just my opinion.
Well, it's a possibility. But you look at, let's say, okay, I'll give you two examples here that I think if they went with this route, well, for one of them, I don't know what the hell they were doing. 101 Dalmatians. 101 Dalmatians, right? You had Glenn Close come in, Cruella DeVille, Jeff Daniels, and all this, and it was a huge hit. It was a live action, but nobody was complaining about there being a live action 101 Dalmatians. Do you think that could be because that story is easily believable in today in the world in real world in the real world more so than say a mermaid and a genie or a beast?
I think it's more to do with the time that it came out, because now it's a fad of Disney remaking everything as a live action movie. That and they actually tried to make a good movie. You know,
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that maybe it has something to do with the fact that it's dogs, and everybody loves dogs.
It's a possibility. Yeah.
A
bunch of puppies.
Yeah, it's just a movie about puppies, and everybody loves puppies.
Yeah.
I know I do.
And everybody loves Dalmatians, even though they're not exactly friendly dogs, honestly. My mother used to live where she used to live, had one upstairs that had a Dalmatian. And if you petted that dog was growling at you. It wasn't like a big, but you're like, yeah, I'm not touching that dog. Dalmatians are known to be kind of volatile, which is funny.
Like, since they're like the international symbol of fire.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's supposed to be safety. You run to the Dalmatian. But I guess 101 pit bulls wouldn't have worked out right.
It's ironic because I've never met a mean pit bull. Like literally, I've never met him eat pit bulls.
I'm sure there's some that can be provoked, but they're being provoked, right? A Dalmatian is just mean, most of them.
About 101 wiener dogs. 101 wiener dogs.
100. Well, see,
I would watch that.
I
would watch that.
I'd go see that.
101 Datsuns, something. Oh, but then what they were doing with these were they were kind of focusing on the villains, and what kind of started this whole. Well, maybe it didn't start the live action trend. I can't remember if Cinderella came first, but you had Maleficent, right?
Cinderella came after that.
Did it? Cinderella came after Maleficent. So Maleficent's kind of the start of all this, right? But the deal with Maleficent was that it was a different take on the story. Like, you go back and you read the Sleeping Beauty story from Grimm's Fairy Tale, the whole thing started because she wasn't invited to the party. Basically, they didn't have enough. They only had enough for 12. So they didn't invite the 13th one. The 13th one found out and was pissed and placed the curse. So that's what's basically happening with Maleficent, right?
Well, the same thing with Beowulf. If you ever read the original Beowulf legend, Grendel was killing and eating all the warriors because they partied too late into the night and he couldn't sleep. So he'd come out of the swamp and kill everybody.
So who's the bad guy here? I mean, you couldn't call the police at that time, right? There was no.
Well, they were the police, technically.
Well, so I mean, but if they had stood on that kind of a trend where they were doing a different take on these, but they kind of got into to just doing whatever they just mimicking the movies or whatever the case is, right? Like the Lion King, somebody asked, "Will we consider I think it might have been Jared, or was it you, Mitch, that asked if we would consider it was Jared, the Lion King movie a live action movie, and it's not. It's not a live action movie. Because the only thing that's live is maybe the plants that they're filming.
Yeah, the scenery,
right? But you try to keep it so realistic. I couldn't watch it. I'll be honest. I couldn't watch it because you didn't have any feeling or depth or emotion because it was a cat's face. They don't really have that kind of thing. They're not equipped to show that kind of emotion. But
yeah, I don't have any interest in any of those live remakes at all.
I don't either. I mean, it's it's just like I said earlier. Don't remake a good movie. Yeah. Just don't, because why? Because it's already been done. Well, as perfect as they can make it. How could you improve it? How could you improve on the original animated Lion King?
You can't. I mean,
make something different and new.
Yeah.
That scene at the very beginning with the there's goosebumps there, and you can't. It was the artwork and everything works into that. Just photographing it coming up, it just didn't have that same feel. It's just not going to.
Right.
It's just like the opening of Star Wars, where you see the Star Destroyer, like literally going over you,
yeah,
in
the theater. Like you can't mimic that anymore. I mean, that's already been done, perfectly in that one shot.
That was so impactful and so profound that even to this day, like I was trolling around yesterday and I saw that on a clip and I just got goosebumps. And I've seen that 1,000 times, but every time I see it, it just takes me back to 1977 and sitting in that movie theater and going, whoa, looking up at the ceiling like, where's that coming from?
Because most movies at the time would have just shown the onshot of it coming towards you.
Right.
George Lucas was the first person to say, hey, let's have it coming over the audience, and actually, make it, seem as big as it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because you're looking at it like it's a very detailed ship for one, and it's a model. It's set up and the camera's moving, right? So the whole thing is a new technology, And I could only imagine at that point in time seeing that. I'm used to it, Rodney. I'm sorry. I grew up with it, but I know what came before. I've seen what came before, but it doesn't mean anything because I've already saw the other, right? So
Yeah, they've tried to mimic it in other movies.
What's up, George? Huh?
They're trying to mimic it in other movies, like Independence Day at the beginning, where you see the moon landing site and the shadow comes over, then the camera kind of peers up and you see the mothership going over you. It was a cool shot, but when I saw it for the first time, as a kid, it just reminded me of Star Wars.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I think that's fine. I think that's what they were trying to go for, is that grandiose, whatever feel to it. But so do you think now Disney has pretty much, they're not making like Disney movies like they used to, right? We're not really seeing Disney movies in theaters anymore. They're kind of concentrating on the Disney Channel and putting out these teeny bopper $5 budget movies. So we're not really going to see this whole family epics or anything like that. I think we saw they redid Escape from Witch Mountain, which had like too much rock in it, right? And don't
that was
get me
a rock
wrong,
movie.
I do like rock. I do like the Rock. I do. But I used to watch the Rock. I remember when the Rock was a wrestler. I know, right? That's that long ago.
So in other words, your back hurts.
Oh,
if you stand up too long.
Yes, and my knees, but they're not going to talk about that. But it was too much rock. It didn't have that Disney feel to it, right? It just didn't. It's kind of lost. They've kind of lost their magic. I think Michael Eisner, no matter how you feel about it, was probably, from what I can tell, was probably the last good CEO that Disney had, because I think he cared. But what happened with him is, and I kind of like to do a show about Eisner because he had his hands in a lot of things, and he really he's kind of responsible. The whole Muppets being part of Disney, he's responsible for that, but he's only responsible for that because because Jim Henson wanted it. The person who got in the way was that Weasley fucking Katzenberg, and anyway, but when Frank Wells died, which was about the Renaissance time, you had Lion King, they're working on Pocahontas. Frank Wells dies in, I think it was a plane crash or a helicopter crash, and he was kind of like Eisner's, compass. He was, he steadied Eisner, and when that happened, I think Eisner felt alone, and so you just started to see the deterioration. He started focusing more on the theme parks, which failed miserably, and so we just didn't get the Disney that we were used to anymore. Not as much as we would like. So,
yeah, and Bob Iger just really ran it into the ground. I'm sorry.
No, he did. He did. I remember reading an article years beforehand by Roy Disney, and Roy Disney Jr. Roy E. Disney was a son of a bitch. He was a son of a bitch. But he was trying his best not to step down off of the board because he was trying to prevent Iger from taking over. And then that son of a bitch also turns around and writes a thing about how proud they were of Iger. And, that he saw fit to have Iger there or whatever the case was. It's like, you backstabbing. I remember when you turn around. Right. If you ever get to see it, when they're talking, there's a clip where they're at like a memorial for Frank Wells. And Mike Eisner introduces Roy Disney to come up and talk. They're talking about somebody who's passed, right? It's a memorial. And Roy's like, "Oh, is that all you get to say?" And Eisner gets to, "Oh, the great, fantastic, wonderful Roy Disney, everybody. Everybody clap your hands." And you can just see the tension there. And you're just like, yeah, Roy Disney's a son of a bitch. Anyway, he's gone now, but he was a son of a bitch. George says, "I agree. Disney has lost their magic. It used to be about the art of storytelling, and now it's about sending us a message. And that's fine if the message was sent without sounding like a lecture or something we can't disagree with, or we sound like evil people." Absolutely, George. Like I said, there's a lot of things that I'll agree with that I don't watch. I can have the same, I have the same beliefs that property has, but if it sounds preachy, I don't need to be preached to, because guess what? I'm the choir. You don't need to preach to me. And the people you are preaching to, they're not going to get it anyway because you've already become their enemy. So there's that. But with that, we are at an hour and 25 minutes in, and that means that we have to tell people where they can find us. Rodney?
Hey, everybody. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, all good stuff. Rodney Fyke Art. You can also go to the Hasm YouTube channel and check me out there, as well as Hasm.com. That's HAZZUM.com. And you can check out all of our books there, such as Peanut Pudding and Jelly, Unchained, Pitter Patter, Roadkill Rampage, and in 2023, Doghouse. You can also get right here on the Indie Comics Network on Thursday nights for Thursday Night Throwdown, and on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. for Sketchy Saturdays.
All right. Awesome. Mitch.
Yes, you can find me here at Linktree/Celtic Cross Studios. You can find my website, online stores, socials, email, everything. If you're looking for cool Christmas gifts for your horror-loving friends and family, pick up one of or both of my 2 Boger collections at my website. And in 2023, you can look for the relaunch of the Boger as an ongoing comic book series. So watch out for that.
Right.
Or keep an eye out for that. Don't watch out for it.
You need to make a video so we can put it as a bump. That way we can have like a nice bump we can put in there. We need more bumps anyway. So, and of course, I'm C Michael Lanning, and you can join me again. Of course, the next time I'll be on is probably Sketchy Saturday, or again next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, where we'll be talking about Disney afternoons. That's right, folks. Before Toonami, Adult Swim, and even Fox Kids, there was Disney afternoons. So come check that out next week as we talk about all the fun stuff like Scrooge McDuck, Chip and Dale, and of course, my favorite, Mr. Darkwing Duck. So we'll see you next week right here on the IndieComicsNetwork.com at 7 p.m. Eastern. And stick around. I'm sure there's going to be some great shows that you can watch. So with that, have a good week, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Hey, don't nobody know this is a holdup. We mean business. Day late and $1 short. That's all like you said right here. Did you say it?
Who in blazes are you?
Well, Mr. Stillwell asked you a question, Theodore.
Theodore.
Hi, Frank.
Amos.
Still aren't mad because I shot you in the leg, Frank. Yes, you are.